Hello, everybody. I hope all is well. So we're just doing this video to help you get prepared for Therap and EVV. We spoke a little bit about EVV over the last couple of months. So I'm going to touch on it some more in this presentation. I'm also going to teach you again how to create or set up the forgot password feature as well. And just make sure everybody has a clear understanding in terms of how EVV works. So just a quick refresher on Therap, because I think sometimes people confuse Therap with ADP. ADP is our time and attendance portal. Therap is the portal that we use in order to document that we have provided services for the individual. So Therap is the application or system that we use at Harris Hands to document the service delivery that we provide to our program participants. Therap can be accessed two ways. Either you can go through the Therap app, which is available via smartphone, tablet, or you can go on the computer and go on the internet and access Therap. The website to access Therap at is secure.therapservices.net. In the lower right-hand corner, you'll also see that is what the Therap app icon looks like. So, how do I access Therap? Each staff member at Harris Hands Community Services is assigned their own distinctly unique Therap password. Your username will always be the same. It's the first initial, your first initial, and your last name. All lowercase. It always stays the same. So you should never, ever forget your username. Your password, your initial password when you first start out is welcome1, all lowercase. The provider code is HHCS-NY. So, for example, if your name was Brian Smith and this was your first time logging into Therap, your username would be lowercase. B Smith, your password would be lowercase. Welcome1, the provider code will be HHCS-NY. The only thing that'll ever change is your password, because after you log in the first time, they're going to prompt you to change your password. So remember, always for provider code HHCS-NY, username is always first initial and last name. This is some things you should know about Therap when you log in. So once you log into Therap the first time, it's extremely important that you set up the forgot password feature. Now, we have been telling folks for a period of time now that with EVV coming, we're not going to have the ability to reset your password. We've had a number of occasions where people tell us that they're putting in the correct password, but it's not allowing them to access it. When we have situations like that come up, we have access, and Therap has access to look behind the scenes, and it always reveals that the person is putting in the incorrect password and that they're locked out of the system. So you may believe that you have the correct password, but you don't have the correct password. If you're a person who is not going to set up the Forgot My Password feature, I strongly encourage you to store your password somewhere where you type it in, physically type it into your phone in a notes section or something like that. What happens is that people allow it to be set up in their phone, almost under like a remember me type template. And for some reason it changes and they can never get back in again. So I recommend setting up the forgot password feature. It's also important to remember that part of your job is being able to access this system, and not being able to remember your password or log in is unacceptable. For you to reset your password, this must be done immediately when you go in. So you have to log in. So in order to set up the forgot password feature, and that's why we say set it up immediately, you have to know your password. You log in, you go to settings, you go to self password reset configure, and then you enter in your current password and hit verify, then enter the email address you want your forgot password notification to go to, and hit the update. Now let me see if I can, let's see if I can demonstrate it for you. I want to close this out. Let's open up the EVV, the Therap page rather, excuse me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in under account that we have. Now you'll notice that prior to me going directly to this forgot password option, I have to log in first, just as I said. So I log in. And you'll see the provider code, HHCSNY. After I've logged in, I go to settings. In settings, you should see the self-password reset feature. If you don't see that, notify your supervisor. You go to configure. Now, in order for you to be able to use the forgot password feature, like I said, you have to know your original password. So I'm going to go in and enter the original password. After I've entered the original password, I hit verify, and then it comes up and it gives me the option of putting the email that I want to receive the forgot password information to. So this email or this text, the phone text number or whatever it is, if you lose your password and you have the forgot password feature set up, this will be the email that they send the information for you to retrieve or create a new password to. After you're done, you just hit update. I'm not going to hit update for the purpose of this because I don't want to reset this password, but it's as simple as that. Again, I recommend that when you first log into Therap, that you do that immediately. So let's jump back out of here for a second and go back into the presentation. What information is in Therap? Now, most people know that you just go into Therap and you document for the individuals. Therap stores our program participants' individualized service plan program, as well as our program participant staff action plans. There are two different things. An ISP outlines the goals, services, an individual is working on. It also stores the criteria for completion, task, and teaching method to complete the goal. The staff action plan stores the valued outcomes, safeguards, and other demographics regarding the program participant. Now, prior to working with any individual that is a program participant for any of our programs, the system requires that the staff must review and acknowledge the staff action plan. If you don't have the ability to document for an individual, it's because you have not acknowledged the staff action plan. Moving right along. So this is the new addition that we're talking about, EVV. EVV, so you have a clear understanding of it, it is a system that may include multiple point-of-care verification technologies such as telephonic, mobile, and web-based verification inputs. The system electronically verifies the occurrence of home or community-based service visits, identifying the time that the service provision begins and ends to ensure accurate claims disbursement and safeguarding that beneficiaries who are authorized to receive services get the expected care. EVV is used to verify visits on a real-time basis. That's important to know because that means that soon as you come on to work with the individual, you have to check in. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. You have to give a location. So that means that the GPS on your phone, you have to make your phone GPS enabled to verify your location. It's going to ask the type of service. It's going to ask the individual providing the individual that you're providing a service to, and it's going to ask the duration of service, how long. It's also important to use to validate hours of work for home health employees. So all staff or any person in any agency that is now providing services that are billed through Medicaid is subjected to electronic visit verification by way of this federal mandate. It eliminates billing data entry mistakes and it reduces costs related to paper billing and payroll. And most importantly, it helps combat fraud, waste, and abuse, which I'm sure everybody here is aware of. Medicaid fraud is something very serious. For Medicaid fraud, you can be prosecuted. You also can be put in a position where you never have the ability to work in this field again, or work where you provide services to anybody receiving services that are paid for through Medicaid. So I spoke a few seconds ago about acknowledging plans, right? There are two ways to acknowledge a plan. You can acknowledge a plan through your mobile device or by logging on through a computer. Doesn't matter which way you do it, but prior to you working with an individual, the plan has to be acknowledged. For the mobile acknowledgement, you want to log in via your app. And we also have videos for this as well that we'll make sure we include in this email so you can watch the videos. But you want to log in via the app. Then you go to ISP data. After you go to ISP data, you select the program you're working in. Then you select the individual you're working with. It'll show the individuals that's on your caseload. Then you select the ISP program. You'll know that you haven't acknowledged the ISP program because next to it, it's going to say not acknowledged. Then in the top right-hand corner, you hit create. Afterwards, you review the plan. And when I say review the plan, make sure you read the plan in detail and you have a clear understanding of what it is that's expected of you while you work with the individual. You scroll all the way down to the bottom, and in the right-hand corner, it should say acknowledge. After you hit acknowledge, you're all set. You then have the ability to document on that plan. For those who prefer to acknowledge via computer, similar way, but to me a lot faster. So you log in via the website, secure.therapservices.net. You click on to do in the left-hand column. And then under ISP data, you click acknowledge. You select from the list of plan, and the plan is whoever's on your caseload that's assigned to you. Again, you review the plan to make sure that you understand everything that is entailed of you when working with the individual. Then you scroll to the bottom, you hit acknowledge, and you're all set. So it's either the mobile acknowledgement way or the computer acknowledgement way to ensure that you've acknowledged, because you cannot document for providing a service to an individual without having acknowledged the plan first. Now let's talk about this check-in piece with EVV, because for those who have been using Therap for some time, this is going to be the new added feature that you have to absolutely do when you start your shift. And we're going to include videos in here as well for you to see. So you log into the Therap app from your mobile device. When you log in, you're going to be on the dashboard screen. You want to click on. So again, you're going into your device. On the dashboard screen, you click on. You click scheduling EVV. So previously, people would probably click ISP data just to enter the data. No longer are we only doing that. Afterwards, you go to self-check-in. After you go to self-check-in, you select the individual. So it's going to say start date, schedule type, individual, program, different things. You select the individual. The individual is the individual that you're working with. Then you select the program you're working with the individual in. Either it's going to be ComHab or respite that you're going to be selecting. Then you select the service. After that, billable should be selected. Then you click next. Therap is going to geolocate you and find your location. Then you have to select whether it's in home that you're providing the service or in the community, and then you click to submit, and then afterwards you have checked in. Now, let me show you this, because Therap has also provided videos. Let's see. So they have a lovely help and support section where they offer training guides. You can go in here, go down to videos, and in the videos, EVV, and you'll see for Android users, for iOS, Apple users, they have more videos on self-check-in on Apple. The videos are usually 5 to 10 minutes at most. They're very detailed, give you a lot of information. See, this one is 6 minutes. Just again, prior to you documenting for an individual, when you first start your shift, you have to check in. This process that you currently see on the screen is what needs to be done. You have to check in. Now, at the end of your shift, you have to check out. And it's pretty much the same process. You log in the Therap app from your mobile device. On the dashboard screen, click on. You want to click scheduling EVV again. And then under agenda list, you're going to see where you previously checked in, where you started your shift. You click on the individual that you checked in for, and then just click checkout, select location, home, or community again, and then click submit. So same process, log into the app, you're on the dashboard screen, you click scheduling EVV, under agenda list, you see who you checked in for and who you were currently working with. You click on that individual, and then you just click to check out. It's gonna ask you the location again, whether home or community, and then you click submit, and that's it. This has to be done when your shift ends. Now, also what has to be done when your shift ends is documenting the data that goes in the Therap. Now, this is extremely important, and I want to stress this to everybody. You are not only being evaluated by our quality assurance person, but you're also being evaluated by the federal government and New York State government. New York State now has in place data aggregators that look at the data to see which staff members that are providing these services accurately and documenting accurately. So all documentation for services must be entered in Therap as soon as your shift ends. That means if your shift ends at 6 o'clock, we expect you to document at 6:01. Immediately, you have to enter your data. There's no exceptions regarding this matter. The federal government recently passed the Cures Act, which mandates that states implement EVV for all Medicaid funded services. This means that staff will be clocking in and out when they start providing services and in providing services. Data must be done on time. You also have to make sure, again, that your mobile device has a geolocator capability so you could capture your location. So again, if you work from 2 to 4, the expectation is that you've checked in 2, you've checked out at 4, and that you've documented at 4. If you work from 5 to 8, the expectation is that you've checked in at 5, you've checked out at 8, and you've documented at 8. We cannot have where you check out at 8 and you don't document until 8:30, 8:15, 8:25 the next day. It's unacceptable. If something like that continues to happen and it's an ongoing occurrence, we are going to be forced to let you go. Again, the data is not only being evaluated by your direct supervisors at this point, the data is being evaluated by the quality assurance person here at Harris Hands, New York State aggregator, and the federal government, to ensure that the people that are providing the services are providing the services correctly and documenting that they're providing them correctly. I've said this to many people, and I'll say it again. You could be the world's best direct support professional. The family could love you. You know, you could be providing a service for a loved one. If you can't do the other 50% of your position, which is the documentation, we are going to be unable to have you at Harris Hands. And I want to say this also, not to scare people. This is across the board for any agency that you go to. So that means if you go to IHD, AHRC, Life Adjustment, wherever you go, the expectation is that you, if you're working in their in-home services department, providing services in the community as a ComHab worker or a respite worker, is that you do exactly what we're telling you now. So we're trying to make sure that you're prepared and you're ready to go. Here's how you document data in the Therap app, which by now everybody should know, but a quick refresher. Only thing you have to do to document data in the Therap app is you log in to the Therap app, you select ISP data, then you select the program you're providing a service for. So that means if you're assigned to ComHab and you're working on ComHab goals, you hit ComHab, Community Habilitation. Then you select the individual you're providing a service to. Afterwards, you select ISP program, which are the actual goals. You hit click Create. You're gonna have to populate, which means enter the beginning time, the ending time, and the location. You click Add Task Score. For the score, you must select service provided. Again, sometimes when the data comes in, we see that people have forgot to actually hit service provided. You have to select service provided. Billable must say yes. The group count is 1, and then afterwards you click Submit. So nothing is really changing from that standpoint. Documenting data in Therap in PC. So if you are providing services to an individual and the individual has a computer in their home, and I say the individual has a computer in their home because remember, as soon as your shift, immediately when your shift ends, the expectation is that you document. So that doesn't mean that you don't have a phone, you don't have access to a computer on the site, and then when you get home an hour later, you go on your computer to document. No, documenting data in Therap on a computer means the individual has a computer in their home that they've given you permission to use for documentation purposes. So on the PC, you're gonna go to, it says log in the Therap app, but you're going to go to secure.therapservices.net, which is the website. You select individual from the left tab. You select new ISP data, select the program you're working in, select the individual you're working with, select the ISP program you're working on. You have to select the date for ISP collection, which would be the day of, because remember, data must be done as soon as your shift ends. Then you click next. It's gonna ask the same thing that they ask on the mobile app, begin time and end time. For a score, you must select service provided. Billable must say yes. Group count is 1, then you click Submit. And that pretty much is it. I want to encourage everybody because, again, this goes live. This goes live on January 1st. When January 1st rolls around, you are going to be evaluated by your ability to actually do this. And I want to make sure that people have a clear understanding of what it is that they're being asked to do. Hence the reason why we're recording this video. There are resources available to you with your supervisor. That being said, there are resources. I'm a resource, but that doesn't mean that we have the ability to do it for you. You're going to have to learn these new additional steps. You're going to have to take advantage of the resource you see on your screen also, Therap, right? Because like I said, if you go to Therap's website and you go to training or you go to user guides, they have tons of information here. In training, under videos, all of this comes up and it's at your fingertips available for you. So I would ask afterwards, after people have watched this and they've digested it, that they make sure that they reach out to us if they have any questions, comments, or concerns. They're all welcome. Just again, want to remind people that this is a federal mandate. This is not solely a Harris Hands rule, and this has to be done. Has to absolutely be done. With that being said, thank you everybody for your time. I hope this was helpful.